So, welcome back. This is the Safe and Effective Podcast. I'm your host, Right Wing Rico, and we're just doing another video about some of the interesting things that have been popping up on my social media feed. For example, George Lopez, of all people today. Mr. George Lopez has been making his rounds, and there's actually a video that just came out which shows him just giving his opinion on the immigration issue. I don't disagree with him, except for some of the main parts. It just seems like there's a slight disconnect from reality when it comes to certain celebrities, and now they're expecting other people to, I don't know, step in and say something. But I'm sorry, Mr. Lopez, what do you expect Hollywood to do? This is the law. This is what the American people are asking for. This is what the American people want. And to be honest, this is what's fair for the United States. Mr. Lopez, you are a very successful man. You're also Hispanic, Latino, same as myself. You can afford to live in any country you want to. Why do you want to live in the United States if this country is racist and evil and bad? What kind of example are you setting for your children? If you say this country is all these different things, but you refuse to leave and go back to another country that's better. George Lopez and his, friends and family, they proud Chicanos, they wave a Mexican flag while refusing and fighting tooth and nail to ever return to Mexico. Why? That's the part that's where these are the hard questions that until recently were too controversial to ask. But now the time is here. The time is now. We're going to have these debates. We want to know, we want to get to the meat and potatoes to find out why it's so bad for you to be somewhere where you're happy. If you're not happy here and all this country does is make you want to complain and gripe, then why not change where you live? This is an interview he did on Power 106, or I forgot what it is now, but when I lived in LA growing up, it was Power 106 with Big Boy. It was like, very popular guy back in the days. But let's hear what George Lopez had to say. I'm sorry, I'm still trying to figure out how to play videos where my microphone is not having to listen. Hopefully it doesn't sound too bad.
When you know what? This is how racist this country is. Let's say
it's not racist enough for you to move, though. So it can't be that bad. I know if I go to a restaurant, I'm like, you want to know how bad the food is here? Yeah, let me get to number 3. It's like, wait a minute. If the food is terrible at this restaurant, I wouldn't eat there. So obviously this country is not that bad, and he's exaggerating. But we'll let him finish.
There's American citizens that are being deported amongst the people who are here undocumented. Well, you know what? Sometimes when they go hunting for tuna, they got a dolphin caught in the net.
Hey, dude, do you see what's going on? Because we haven't had a chance to speak since Trump.
They already called me to fit me for chains. They said, we know what you kind of chains you used to wear. What chains are you? What size chains are you now?
Yeah, dude. Are you concerned, George?
If I didn't talk so much shit, I wouldn't be. But I think
because you said some things.
Where does the tour start? It starts in Miami. Where's it going to end? Guantanamo? It might end up in Fort Hood in Texas. Who knows?
Hey, man, do you feel like?
I'll be honest. This is all BS. He's just another person who's got money, who wants to pretend they're on the side of you. George Lopez, if you were really on the side of the people being deported, you would literally go with them, help them get established in their home country. You could just go right across. Literally, it's a 2-hour drive from LA. Drive to Mexico. You could set up a foundation. You can buy a property. You can make Mexico great again. You have the influence. You have the resources. Why do you love Mexico so much Why do you think America is so bad and so racist, but you won't go to Mexico and build up a life there? People pretend that all of Mexico looks like Tijuana. It doesn't. It's a massive country with a very diverse plethora of people, different states. It's a huge country. I've been to Mexico a bunch of times. I've lived in Mexico for a little while. It's a great place. George Lopez, if this country is racist and you're so afraid, why are you afraid to go back to Mexico? Why are you afraid to go live there? You cannot have it both ways. Just admit America's pretty fucking great for you. And it's been great to all these people who are kicking and screaming because they don't want to go back. The problem is we are a country of laws. And when people want to break laws and not get punished, that is a problem. Without order, there is chaos. You cannot raise children and build societies in chaos. This is not, what are you expecting these people in Hollywood to do, George Lopez? Are you expecting them to come to your aid and say, oh, this is so wrong? Why is it wrong? If I get caught selling crack by the police and they send me to jail, they're taking me away from my family. If I break into someone's home forcefully, without permission, I trespass, I break in through a window, and I try to set up shop, unless I'm in California and I claim squatters' rights, I'm going to jail and I'm being taken away from my family. You want exemptions for certain people to be able to enter another country, not be deported and get benefits, and nothing happened to them? Brother, George Lopez, I can't even go to Mexico and overstay my 180 days. Or what they're going to do, they're going to find me and they're going to deport me. I could not go to Mexico right now, set up shop, start living, start paying bills, and just think I can stay there without attempting to get dual citizenship, earning some kind of visa, working out something with the government. There's no such thing. There's no such country on earth that you can just go to without having to follow the rules for citizenship or immigration laws. Why all of a sudden, when it comes to the United States, though, you're just so anti our laws, but not the laws of the other country? You're not protesting in Mexico about how they deport Americans, but you're complaining about how we deport people in the United States. And it's not just Mexicans. I'm watching military planes take people all the way to Punjab, India, taking them all the way to the mainland China. There's literally deportations going on to every country that they have people from all over the world. Everything that's been going on the past 4 years, we have a limited time to try to reverse it to the best of our abilities. It's just amazing to me. These same celebrities are not crying about the people that are being deported from Mexico every year, but they want to play on your heartstrings. This is probably one of the first times that I can remember in a long time. I would say since before 2008 was the last time I remember where talk was cheap. See, lately, everybody just tries to play on your heartstrings and they say stuff to you, and they were able to guilt you into submission. From what I can tell now, the times when you can just shame somebody into giving up what you want. Oh, there's a picture of a girl crying. Quick, let's burn up the Constitution. Get the hell out of here. Everyone's not going to be happy. Everyone's not going to be congratulatory, and everyone's not going to respect your wishes, but you must have boundaries. American citizenship is for Americans. Even when they are taking these illegals and putting them in prison, you're still giving them the same respect and you're following the same laws for them, giving them a right to an attorney, phone calls, all the due process that's for American citizens. People who are not American citizens should not be granted the same privileges as our citizenship grants us. It should not be the same. That's not fair. It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, they're going to have to eventually come up with a separate legal system specifically for illegals that's streamlined. No more due process. You know, you're serving time, you're in these American jails, and then costing taxpayer money, and then afterwards you get out. Hopefully ICE deports you, and then you just come right back. There has to be a better system in place. The thing is, a lot of our policies come from what these politicians complain about. I'm glad that for the next few years, they're all going to be ignored. Because look at where they got us, a land of lawlessness. You know how many people I know, were killed in car accidents, and all the other person had to do, hop right back across the border, stay gone for a few years and come back. You don't know who they are. They're not registered in the system, no social. If they've never been arrested, no fingerprints, no real identity. They weren't born here. You don't have a copy of their social security, their social security card or birth certificate. Matter of fact, a lot of them that were coming across the border the past several years, you find mountains and piles of identification because they ditch who they were, where they're from. A lot of these people could be coming from mental institutions, prisons, rapists, murderers, any type of crime. And they emptied out their jails and they say, if you go to the United States, we'll let you free right now, but you can never come back here. And that's why they were fighting so hard to stop their citizens from being returned to their own home countries. They don't want them there because they're criminals. They're not the best and the brightest. They're not the hardest workers or smartest. That's not who they're sending. They're getting rid of the riffraff who take down their society. And then you got asshole celebrities right here that are trying to manipulate you emotionally into giving up your country's sovereignty and lowering your own security, which is insane because I bet you if I show up to his house tonight at 3 a.m., his door is locked.
Out the gate that Trump has done way more than what we thought he was going to do. Like you hear certain things, but this dude hit the ground running with executive orders.
When
Biden broke a record for signing executive orders on his first day in office, killed the Keystone Pipeline, hundreds of thousands of jobs gone the first day. But for some reason, these people, they only know Trump. They've never mentioned Biden a day in their life. Even when he said, you ain't black if you don't know if you want to vote for me or not. These people never mentioned Biden. That's how you know there is a glitch in the matrix. But all right, let's get back to the video.
Only promise you keep is to mass deportation. Not I'm gonna lower the price of groceries.
Yeah.
No, you can't get an egg anymore. There's some bird flu, which means the Latinos, I'm washing my hands. Fuck him. Take eggs. Look at these freshly hatched eggs right here, my culo. So I think that the mass deportation thing is crazy.
Yeah, man.
I mean, listen, I might be selfish, but I can't get fruit right there in the corner anymore.
You saying how it affects
I'm not saying guys running behind that. You have to.
I guess nobody is too good for slave labor. He's saying that he can't, I live in LA, we always see the people with the peanuts and the fruit and the flour standing on the medians of the roads, right? And what he's basically insinuating is that he won't be able to get his fruit from the guy who's standing out there selling it for pennies on the dollar. He won't be able to get his slave goods from slave labor, from people who are being paid less than others under the table because they're not legal citizens. They're just here. The fact that they're disrespected, the fact that they're not, they don't have the same opportunities, they shouldn't be here anyway. We don't owe them anything. This sense of entitlement is beyond me because this man right here has resources. He has fame. He could literally go to Mexico or another Central American country and he could promote tourism and bring business to these other countries. He could technically make Mexico great again if he wanted to. You don't have to make America great. That's for Americans, people who love America. You don't have to be here. You could literally go to another country. Think about it. Why does it seem like the United States has had a monopoly on immigration all these years? I read a sign that said, immigrants make America great. Okay. Isn't it about time that we spread the wealth? Why are we monopolizing and taking all the immigrants and being the only great country? If immigrants are so great, Why don't you want to take them in other countries and make these other countries great? If the sauce, right? If the main ingredient of what it takes for a nation to be great is immigration, then America is doing the world a favor right now by doing mass deportations. We're literally spreading the immigrant wealth. You guys owe us. They owe us money. And I'm from an immigrant family, but we're not the type of immigrants that come here and don't appreciate this country. We're from communist countries. People in America don't even understand what freedom is. People in America think freedom means, oh, we have the freedom to not do anything with our lives. We have the freedom to stay home and freedom to just walk around on the streets and just if we want to go sleep outside on the curb in a tent, we can do that. That's real freedom. That's not what freedom means. When you're from a country like my family, my home country, we come here for the freedom to work, the freedom to determine our own future, the freedom where we can choose to work harder and smarter than other people to get further. Not we're all just on the same. What was that BS Kamal was talking? Oh, equity and equality with equal outcomes. No, baby. If I want to work harder and I'm willing to take more risk and put in more effort, then my outcome better not be equal to yours. If you're a bum and you don't want to do anything, we better not have the same outcomes. That's nonsense. This man worked hard. This man has the ability to go somewhere and build it up. You do not have to be here in America. Why are you forcing it? You speak more than one language. The big boy only speaks one language. He can't go anywhere. You can, Mr. Lopez. So why are you still here? If you disagree with the policies and the laws of the country, why not move somewhere else better? But guess what happens when he moves to Mexico? He's going to find out they have immigration laws and what? And then what is he going to say? When he finds out that Mexico does deportations as well. Well, then he's going to look like an idiot hypocrite who doesn't know what he's talking about.
Go behind the tree, just a little, una copa. Like, with a coconut slice.
Man, but you always
trying to speak English. How? Hey, excuse me. Are you American? Sir? How? What's the major thing I know? No. Get in the van. Get in the van. I got you. What's the major thing I know? Okay. His wife too.
Man, have you? Because you've been vocal, terrible, but you've been vocal too, even before this second run.
This is how fractured our culture is. You got a guy making mass deportation things, destroying lives. All they can talk about is Emilia Pérez and Selena Gomez crying. Nothing about the actual people themselves. So,
life is about decisions. Life's about choices. If somebody chooses to right now get plastered drunk, get behind the wheel of a car and drive east into westbound traffic, and they get into a bad accident and they end up getting sent to prison, that's not the law destroying your life. That's you destroying your own life. The law is holding you accountable. These people knew when they came to the United States illegally that they were here illegally. They knew. Think about it. I know people that have been here 30 years, never even tried to get their papers, never applied, never went for the school, never even asked what to do. They chose to perpetually, like indefinitely, break the laws because they don't respect the country, they don't respect the system, they don't respect the people. Even though they know Americans don't want them to break into the country, they still come anyway because they don't give a damn about the people. But you're supposed to care about them. No, Mr. Lopez. The popular mandate is not what George Lopez is saying. Overall, we're ignoring him. The point is, we do have to realize what's being said and who's saying it, and we have to break it down and talk about it. This is important. This is very important. And I mean, it tells you a lot about who your neighbors are. I don't want a neighbor that does not appreciate laws, because if they don't care about the law, then they don't care about my rights. They don't care about my safety, my security. They don't give a shit about me. because they don't care about laws. If they'll sit here and defend one criminal, they'll defend any criminal. That goes for pedos, chomos, murderers. They'll defend any crime and any criminal. It's all illegal. Oh, they're not all illegals. If you come here illegally, yes, you are already a criminal. It's literally in the title of the name. Illegal immigrant. You're automatically a criminal. You're here illegally. There is no, well, we're going to forget that law that I broke and we're going to just go forward. And I haven't broken any new laws. Like, what the hell does that even matter? You broke the initial law when you snuck in or you broke into the country. And because the law holds you accountable, now the law is destroying your lives, or did you choose to make a decision that would affect your life? Think about it. You know, these people abuse their children and they're sneaking their children and they're sending their children alone across the border, knowing that these kids die during the trip just because they don't want to live where they are. These are not war-torn countries. They're not. There is no war in Mexico right now. There's no war in Honduras, Guatemala, Panama. There's no war in Colombia. Don't let them. This is not even asylum. The way it works with asylum, right? You're supposed to go to the first country that's not at war, and you're supposed to stay there. Think about it. These people are when people are coming from other parts of the world, they're landing in Brazil, which is a beautiful, huge country, and they're making their way north. You're already, okay, you found asylum in Brazil. You found asylum in Central America. You do not have to come all the way to the United States of America border. Why are you coming here? If you're looking for a place that's safe, that's not at war, that you can live and work, you can do that in every single country you're passing through. Why you want to come to the U.S.? Not for the opportunity. It's for all the free stuff, the benefits. Yeah, we give them away. A lot of Americans don't know that people who are not citizens have been, until recently, getting the benefits that were meant for citizens. They didn't know. Nobody knew. Now you know, because Trump's telling you. He's making a big deal about it. This is a huge deal. This is a part of the theft of resources from our country. This is a part of it. This is a major part. And this man is advocating giving away your birthright, giving away your property, your money, your resources, your tax dollars, so that he can feel better about stuff for people that, even though they both might seem Latino, he shares nothing with. He lives in America. He has money. He could go bless these people and help them all out. He could go with them over there and open up something. He could go to another central country and create opportunity. Instead, he chooses to just sit here in America and complain when he has the choice to just leave. Like, why, instead of complain, why not just change where you are? Change and go be somewhere else. You don't have to be here. I had a girlfriend like that before. Oh my gosh, she couldn't stand me. All she did was complain about me. Wouldn't leave. I come home, she's there. Hey, I think we should break up. I don't. Hey, I think you should move out. I'm not moving out. She's refusing to leave. It got so bad one day I had to just leave her. To this day, she still calls me. And I'm like, well, what do you want? When you were with me, all you did was complain. It turns out when people have that type of behavior, the only word to describe them is spoiled. And that's because things are sometimes so good that you take them for granted. And I feel like that's where we are right now in the United States with these people that are here, whether they're citizens or not. Too many people take this amazing country for granted, and we kind of want to do what we can to move those people away from here so that we can focus on ourselves. We need some time. We need some alone time. And we have to get back to ourselves. You know, I have some friends, right? And they were telling me that for the first time in their entire lives, you know, they're in their 20s and 30s. In their first time in their life, they said they pulled up to a construction site. They were hired on the spot. They were hired on the spot for a construction job, no experience. All they had is size. They said until they started cracking down on the illegals, that was never an opportunity for an American. You know how many things that we think that we need immigrants and we're basically slave labor to do because Americans don't want to do it? It's not that Americans don't want to do it. Americans can't compete with slaves. Allegedly, I say allegedly because I don't believe slavery stories, not the way they tell me. All the slave stories I hear from black people in America are just, I'll be honest, it sounds like just really homoerotic gay porn. All they talk to me about is bug breaking and the white man whooping them and having sex with them and raping men. And it just sounds real gay. So I don't believe in all the slave stories. However, there is a history of indentured servitude, and there's records of that actually make more sense. Or people that, were captured at one time, they're POWs, and they didn't just have mass incarceration like they do today, where you can just go sit somewhere. So instead of letting these people rot away in prisons after you've conquered their tribe, you would move them around and then you would make them work. And eventually, you would, they would be, what do you call them? Not just in indentured servants, but eventually they'll become sharecroppers and people who you would sell plots of land to over time. So they weren't really slaves. But if you look at it today, the people that we were supposed to compete with were slaves. Think about it. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, they're doing it. They were pushing this huge thing about H-1B visas because the people they're bringing in from India, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh were slaves. The way it works is a job position that they would normally pay an American $120,000 for. They would roughly pay somebody from India to work more hours, and they would only give them like 40 grand. Well, it'd be 60 grand. The recruiter would get 10. The other the company would get 10 back, and then the person would get 40. And then they would set up dorm style housing where all these engineers and and tech people would live in these apartments where it would be like 4 men per room. And then after a few years, you'll eventually be able to bring your wife and kid over, and then they get you like a little small apartment. But you're an indentured servant to Tesla, to these companies. You work for Musk, but you're a slave. Being that you're a slave, you also can't compete. One thing about being an American, if I get a job hired for you, and I notice that you suck on some things, and I'm thinking maybe I can do it a little bit better. If I find a way to get my hands on a loan or some extra money, and if I have the drive, I could literally rent a suite from you across the street, and I could open up a service and I could compete with you. The reason they don't want these Americans to have these jobs is because once you gain that knowledge as an American, you might want to branch off and do your own thing. When you're bringing in slaves, you can control them and their movements and what they do and where they go. And they don't have the access to the money. And because of their citizenship status, they're not able to go ahead and get loans. They're not going to be able to navigate this American environment. So they want their slaves. America's been too addicted to slaves from Central America to the point where we didn't even know we could get jobs doing construction. We didn't know we could get jobs working on farms. We didn't even know we could get jobs doing manual labor. It hasn't been available to it because none of us could compete with slaves. I want 15 an hour. He wants 6. I can't compete. If I'm gonna pay somebody $120,000, but then somebody else says, hey, I'll do it the same job, but I got an accent and I'll do it for 40 or 30, then I might have to go with the accent. Now that's gone. So now certain people are complaining. We have to get back to America first. You can't be America first unless you put Americans first. There's no other way to do it. And you see that H-1B visa situation is out the window because it wasn't America first. Honestly, I feel like the issues with Trump worrying about Gaza, that's not American first. And hopefully that goes away and they stop that too. Now they're pulling all the funding out of the Ukraine. That's America first. We're telling the Ukrainians you owe us $500 million in rare earth minerals for free. That's America first. Now we're taking back our sovereignty. Now we're taking back our power. And now we're getting recompensated. We're going around, we're auditing everything. I can't wait until they audit NASA. I want to know how much these ridiculous, crappy, crummy pictures with these fisheye lenses, how much are they charging you per day for this nonsense? 60 million, more than 60 million a day goes to NASA. Audit everything. Audit the Pentagon, audit the Federal Reserve. Now they announced today they're going to be auditing elected officials in the government. You make 300 and some thousand a year, you have a net worth of 24 million. How the hell did that happen? Well, you're peddling influence. How much are these lobbyists paying you to move legislation in their favor? To put up environmental regulations around their competition while letting them float. The people who are paying you. It's just, we think the Ukraine is corrupt, but who was paying the Ukraine? We were. The whole EU was. So we're actually contributing to the corruption because we do have our own. The only way we can root it out is with transparency. And people are literally arguing against being transparent in our own government. It's because we're addicted to slavery. These people come over here to this country. They don't speak English. They'll do anything for a quarter, a tenth of the price, and it's exploitation. They shouldn't be here. The same hard work, if they put that effort into their home countries, they would not need to be here. But you can't always wait for somebody else to create opportunities for you. You have to create them for yourselves. Now, if you're being deported from the United States, that means you speak English. You know how the system works here. You got friends like George Lopez. They got money. They can come there. You guys can figure something out somewhere else. The United States is not the end all to be all anymore. This is not 50 years ago. We're not an oasis in the middle of a desert. There's a lot of oases around here. You just have to make it better. It's not going to be like that over time. There's deserts in this country right now that are not doing too well, but if populations go back to these areas, they can be reinvigorated. Look at Flint, Michigan. It's coming back. Detroit came back big time. I was there in 08, 07 when they took all the auto industry out and we had the crash and Obama, I was there. I lived out there. And I remember thinking, no way the government's going to let everybody lose all their stuff. Yeah, right. But guess what? Eventually you will bounce back. If there's a will, there is a way. But we're going to just have to find a way without using slave labor. Let's see what else. Let's see what other nonsense Lopez has to say before we end this video.
The power of maybe.
Oh, and do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm trying to build it up some more. We got some new followers, actually. Appreciate you guys. I actually have other show ideas that we're going to start doing, not just lives, not just the America First podcast and the Safe and Effective podcast. If you see the name of the show, Safe and Effective, you know what I like to talk about. I just have to put it in code because we're on YouTube, but we're also on Rumble. Follow us on Rumble, support the channel. I'm Right Wing Rico. I appreciate it. We have another transgender psychosis episode coming up after this that you might enjoy. So please like the YouTube. This is on X right now, so subscribe on X as well.
Whoever has the upper hand, and you know that it's never been an upper hand like that, has the power to make an entire community, an entire country go silent. In Hollywood, silent. Nobody is saying anything.
Right.
Not even a fucking meme with a chancla and an exit door,
Right.
The guy's crossing the border, but the sign's going the other way. Nothing, zero. So everyone seems to be more concerned about their own self than the greater good of other people and their families, and the fact that these people provide a service. Not all of them are criminals.
Right.
That's again, Mr. Lopez. I think you misunderstand how laws work. If you are in this country illegally, my good sir, you are a criminal. You can't decide to start looking at the law after you're done with your crimes and exonerate yourself. This is the United States of America. You do not make your own rules here. I know you see people on TV, women, a lot of black people, especially, who attempt to make their own laws. It doesn't work for them. Mr. Lopez, it's not going to work for you. We are a land of rules, regulations, laws that are put in place to keep things in order. You want to live in this country because we have these laws. You will kick and scream, and you will probably delete yourself before you move to another country because you don't want to live under anyone else's laws or lack thereof. Sitting here and just complaining about the United States 24/7, what do you expect people in Hollywood to do? They agree overall with what Trump is doing. You think Hollywood is sad? You think Hollywood benefits from slave labor? No, they don't. They don't hire a bunch of slaves to come work on the shows. And no, they hire Americans to manage equipment and to do crew grip. You might see you won't even see illegals doing security. So the community you're advocating for and you think Hollywood should speak out about, Hollywood does not directly benefit from illegal immigrants. They don't have a huge role in Hollywood. I don't think they have any role in Hollywood. They are in industries that require manual labor for the most part, but also that's it. There's nothing else really that they are replacing American jobs for. People, the only three things they tell you that they do are they pick the fruits, they do the manual labor. You know, who's gonna wash your toilet, Donald Trump, and all that weird. Do you know who was cleaning homes before Latinos moved to the United States? Blacks and whites and Asians, Filipinos. You know, don't forget, there were people here before mass migration from Central America. There were people that were coming to this country legally through New York and through other programs after the Alamo fell and the United States purchased and conquered the territory. This land is no longer a part of Mexico. It's under a different government. And we've had legal immigration this entire time. If you come to this country and you don't speak the language, low-level jobs like cleaning and manual labor, those are available to you. Your kids can actually, that are born here, they're citizens, they speak the language. They can now work and grow and do other things. But now we're coming to a point where second-generation immigrant children resent the country. They resent the culture. They rebel against it, and they're activists. Well, then, okay, we will find the parents of your activists, and when we deport them, you can go with them. If you're a true activist, you'll leave with your parents. If George Lopez really cared about illegals, in solidarity, he would pack up and he would take his talents with them. He would not stay here in the land of the oppressive, mean racists that's so evil and terrible to me. He would go with them just out of solidarity alone. If you stay here, you're a hypocrite. I have friends that are African American who talk about how oppressive and racist America is, but they won't move to Ghana. They won't move to Nigeria. Well, then you're volunteering for this. You're signing up. If you think the police are going to pull you over and kill you, and you don't take your kids and evacuate to safety, then that literally means you're consenting to any and everything that's coming. Your compliance is by you still being there. Now, if you're serious, right, and out of solidarity, you take off and move, that's how we would know that you were really against the system and how things work here. If you stay, you're not. And none of them have left yet. It's just all talk. They won't go anywhere. This man is sitting here on this interview with Big Boy, but he won't go do this on a radio station in Michigan.
I mean, the crime is to pay that person so little to do so much. She's going to get us all killed. I think Latinos should stand up and say, you don't deserve to underpay us.
Well, yeah, now you can say that in Mexico in your native language, and we will see how they respond to you. You don't have to worry about saying that here to us. We are no longer your oppressors. But let's see how warm the welcome is when you are now returning to these other countries. I don't think it's going to be that warm. And a lot of people are getting mad at George Lopez because and he brought up a joke that he says in Hispanic households, one of the main rules is you're not supposed to marry anyone black. That's not just a rule in Hispanic households. That's a rule in every household. And when you have a daughter who goes outside of this and breaks the rule, then she gets your family's going to say you got what you deserve. You knew better. It's a common trope because it is a common outcome. So this is George Lopez arguing with a black woman who's a heckler after he made that joke, and he kicks her ass out of the show. I know it's going to be hard for you to hear. It's hard for me to hear. So I'm reading it. George Lopez says one of the rules of a lot. Yeah, it's true. It's not Latinos. It's not only us. It's everybody. Africans don't want their children marrying a black American. Africans are against it. It's not just Latinos, Asians, white people that don't want their children fraternizing with black Americans. Nobody does. It's not just, don't be mad at George Lopez, be mad at everybody. Maybe it's not everybody, Nas. Maybe it's you. There's a reason everybody doesn't want to cohabitate or be around you. There's a reason no one wants to be your neighbor. I have never met nobody in my life. I work in housing. I've never been out looking for properties, and and there were other people there, and they were like, wow, is there any good black neighborhoods where there's a bunch of black? I want to move there. Where are the blacks? I don't like it over here. It's too gentrified. It's nice. Where are the blacks? Let's go to one of these nice black neighborhoods. I've never heard that statement. It's a cultural issue, but it's not American culture. There's a subculture underneath American culture that, unfortunately, because of the Constitution, American culture protects. But George Lopez is the bad guy. He's anti-black. Then that means everybody's anti-black. But if you ask a black person, everybody and everything is anti. So whatever. I mean, I don't think George Lopez is a bad guy. I just think he doesn't know what he wants to do with himself. Out of solidarity, he could leave and go to another country and show us that you're serious. So could Selena Gomez. Instead of crying, why don't you fly to another country, be there to greet people, help get them situated, and see what kind of industry you can bring there with your influence. You could open up restaurants, hotels. You could tell people they should start visiting there. I'm sure local governments would love to make you the face of tourism or add you as a person who's, talking good. The Jews do it in Israel. They fly American celebrities to Israel. And when you get there, everything's free for you. But you have to talk about how nice the country is. And you have to tag the government and just say nice things about the country and just make tweets. I'm sure these other countries, like I said, we've had a monopoly on immigration all these years. Share the wealth. Come on, George Lopez. Come on, Selena Gomez. Share the wealth. Expand. Why are we so lucky that we have you? Why are we so lucky? Why don't you go share, take the immigrants, go somewhere else and show us who's boss. Become better than us. Show us how it's done. But until then, I just think you're just all talk. You're not really serious, and you're just saying this so that people will think that you're on their side. But at the end of the day, you wouldn't do a damn thing for anyone besides yourself, and you shouldn't. People have to do for self. This is America. The freedom that we have here is for the freedom to take care of ourselves, not the freedom to be taken care of by the government. We come here to this country so that we can work and take care of ourselves and our families, not so that we can not have families and be taken care of by the system. That's not the reason. That's not the purpose of this country. People have been abusing it, and I'm hoping that things are now going to change. And guess what? If you don't like the changes, move. That's simple. Do me a favor, like and subscribe, share the video. Just a late night rant. You know, I'm reading through the comments. If they're illegal, then that's the crime, which makes them criminals. Why is that? I don't understand how that's hard to understand. Why do the Mexican actors have faces that look like the Caucasus? You know what? Yeah, I know the guy that's from all those other movies with that big ass stomach tattoo. I don't know. I don't know what that's all about with the face stuff. Even he severely resists his own countrymen. He does. That's what I was just saying. He resists his own countrymen. He doesn't want to go with them. Oh, they should stay here. Why? Why don't you just go there? There's more there. Why not go be with your people? Don't you want camaraderie? Don't you want to be a part of La Raza? Well, why don't you? I can get my fruit down on the corner anymore. Man, like that. Yeah, that was a hard, even though it's a joke. See, he's a comedian. See, I'm a comedian sometimes too. So everything I can say, I can always write it off as a joke. But sometimes there's some truth in your jokes. George, nobody cares what you have to say. Shut the F up. Aren't you moving to Canada? He did say he was moving to Canada. But he hasn't left. Samuel L. Jackson hasn't left. I've seen Tom Hanks in and out, but I thought he was dead already, but I guess he's still around. What are people supposed to do? They couldn't stop them from separating kids from their parents the last time this happened. That's what happens when you get arrested. You're separated from your kids. If I go rob a bank, right? But I got a baby in tow. I got like one of those little backpacks with they put your baby in. Are they going to lock me in a back of a police car with a baby on my back? No, they're going to separate me from the kid. I don't understand. What about that is so difficult to understand? If I commit a crime as an American and I have a kid with me, when I get arrested, they're separating me from the goddamn kid. Why should that be any different for these other criminals? We are not going to make exceptions for criminals. We cannot. Because then we turn into these countries that you're fleeing from. And then that will defeat the purpose of you coming here. We will not let you do to our country what you did to yours, what you're escaping from in yours. We're not going to let you do that here. We're not going to let the people here who want our countries to be communist like other countries, we're not going to let them change our country either. We will find a way to get rid of them eventually. We have prisons. Those are full. And if there's a will, there will be a way. There's going to have to something be done about these anti-American people that are in America with citizenship. They're next. Because we can't coexist with them. It's just not going to happen. Coming from a guy who kicks down his own people, this guy is a LARP. So what? People cannot go live anywhere they want in the world whenever they want. If I, as an American, go to become a citizen of Mexico or Italy, I cannot just arrive on their soil and stay there indefinitely. Absolutely. You cannot. I listened to Big Boy in the Morning for over 25 years, and I love it. Got to say, George is unhealthy. His mind is rotted. Nothing more to say. It is a mind. It's a sick mind virus of entitlement. Whenever I meet somebody who wants to change everything around them, but they don't want to change themselves, the sense of entitlement I feel is insane. So you want everything to adjust around you. It's just like, for example, I was having a party, maybe here at my house. I was having a party like a month ago. And somebody brought a girl or some chick, whatever. And there's music playing. There's like, it's a get together. Do you know this girl had the nerve to grab the remote to my sound system? stopped the music from playing, and then all you heard was click, 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 click. She's clicking around trying to find a song that she wants to hear. And she expected all of us to sit there with this loud clicking from my subwoofers while she's searching to type in a name of. I immediately snatched the remote out of her hands. I removed the batteries from it, and I warned her, if you do one more small thing, I don't care how small it is, you're getting kicked the hell out, and so is the person who brought you. Both of y'all are evicted. You can no longer party or hang out here. You can't. This person came in here and decided to change the music for everyone there instead of just adapting to the environment she was in. That's how I feel when I see these entitled people in the United States. They want to change the culture of the country instead of adapting to the culture of the country. They want the United States to become communist instead of just adapting and learning capitalism. This is a capitalist country. If you don't like it and you want a communist country, go to Canada. I don't even know if you can find communism in Mexico, but go somewhere else. Don't do it here. We are a land of laws. We are a land of people that work, who pay for things. We're not supposed to be a land of beggars. Yeah, people, that's the thing. It's starting to the mind virus, the shade is starting to wear off. This is me reading these comments here on Twitter. Follow the Twitter page, Safe and Effective Podcast, Club Rico Podcast. Keep it funky. So if you say something is a crime, right? It absolutely is. And look at this. This is the comment of the day. Bingo. Why was he so quiet when Obama was doing it? Repost. It's crazy. None of these people, none of these communist people who manipulate you using the media, none of these people, it's like they only activate when Trump is president. But when Trump's not president, these people, they don't know that there is a president. I swear to God, there's people who I've begged them to make a comment for 4 years about what was going on with inflation, the wars that got started, the crime, the vax mandates that Biden put in place for companies with over 100 people. I begged these people to argue with me and talk, and they wouldn't say a freaking word. I'm telling you, the night Trump got inaugurated, people who I haven't heard from in years started jumping on my posts and wanting to make comments. Oh, the president. I said, where were you for the past 4 years? If you didn't say nothing last month or last year to me about politics, the state of the country, if none of these things interested you at all in the past 4 years, don't you dare fix your ashy, nasty ass, blistered lips to speak to me about what's going on with Trump today. My ex-girlfriend, actually, I can bring it up. I should bring up her page because she's a communist, and I'm so grateful. I know it sounds bad, but I'm grateful she never got pregnant, because I would have had to sit here and watch this woman try to sneak and give my child these experimental injections because she's a coward. She believes everything she sees on television. She watches reality television. Really pretty girl, but not the sharpest tool in the shed. And typically, a lot of these women don't necessarily need to be the sharpest tools in the shed because that's what they have men for. But when you're a liberal woman who votes Democrat, you're not going to be able to attract a man. The kind of men that you want are liberal men. Liberal men are gay. A gay man is not going to marry you and have children with you and try to be a family with you. And that's why you see these liberal women are just getting older and they're more single than ever. They haven't had a relationship in years, and they will never have a relationship in years. But she's in here, and she's sending me posts about Trump. She's been my friend this entire time. Like, why now all of a sudden do you care to send me messages about what Donald Trump is doing? What the hell do you care? You're not involved. She sent me a message to say that said, your boy's about to start a war. Are you a crack? Are you on drugs? What are you talking? Your people that were just in office were in 3 wars and funding the hell out of them. What, 500,000 people have already been wiped from the earth since Biden, Harris took over things? We had no new wars under Trump. None. And now magically you want to pretend that you care about what's going on with war in the country because of Trump, and they're all black. This is a black dude I known him for years. He's in the military, but he doesn't live here in the U.S. He lives in Germany. Literally jumping on my posts on Facebook, wanting to talk to me about Trump. And, oh, you're going to just rule by executive order. How many executive orders did Biden sign on his first day in office? Where were you at that day when they closed the Keystone and all those men lost their jobs, good jobs too? And our energy bills started going up because the cost of, transportation went up because we're now having to import energy. Where were you at then, brother? You had no opinions, no thoughts. You never reached out to me. You didn't want to talk to me about this, about what's going on. You had nothing to say. Now, magically, you got all these opinions. If you don't shut your black ass up, it's like this thing that triggers inside these people when it comes to Trump. And I don't know what it is. It's like this, it's a sick mind virus. It's something that I can't really explain. But I'm noticing that more and more people every day are starting to snap out of it. And that pool of people is getting smaller and smaller. I call them the Black American communists, because the only people I see that hate Trump in this country for really no good reason are pedophiles and black people. The gays and blacks, but not all the gays, because they have gays against groomers that are pro-Trump. There's gay conservatives now, strangely enough. But there's a certain lower class of people that they don't want Trump to do audits. They don't want to audit the Federal Reserve or these agencies. And I'm like, well, why not? What do you care? And they don't care. They just care that it's Trump. Bro, the same people hate Drake and thought the Super Bowl piece of shit, that trash performance was so great. Not because they thought it was a great show and they liked Kendrick Lamar. No, they could care. It was a lackluster trash show. They pretended they liked it because they hate white people, and they think Drake is white adjacent because he's half Jewish. So that's why. So it's like this weird cult of people that are just, their whole lives revolve around hating white people. That pool of people was the source, the source of anti-Trump rhetoric. And there's a pool of gay people that control that group of black people. If you think about it nowadays, the black community and the gay community they're one community now. Like that trans said the other day, oh yeah, the black community is a trans community. To be black is to be gay. And that makes more sense in the world to me than anything I've heard. That's exactly what that means. And but I'm noticing more people are breaking out of that mindset, because you got to think about it. You literally have to align yourself with a pedophile and join forces with them in an imaginary war against white people and Trump. But, well, who are your allies in this war? And you're like, well, I'm black, and there's these weird men dressed as women, and we know what they're really into. You guys make really strange bedfellows, but and that's why right now you see so much rejection to the Latino community. Oh, well, we told you don't vote for Trump. And why would we not want to vote for Trump? You thought we were allies with you. You guys are allies with pedophiles. We're not going to take it that far. We'll go back home. We'll go back to our countries before we literally get in bed with pedophiles. We'll leave that up to you guys and your imaginary war against white people. Nobody wants to join your war and with your fake anger and outrage towards Trump. For what? What did Trump do to you? Why does Make America Great Again hurt your soul so bad? Don't you want to? But then you think about it. I've been to some of their neighborhoods. These people will eat their food and throw the trash in their own front yards. So to make America great again, you should want to make where you live great again. That these people do the opposite of that. They don't care where, they don't want where they live to look nice and be great. Matter of fact, they say cleanliness is a offset of white supremacy. I heard one of them say that recently too. So because of that, you know, they're rejecting us now. You see some of them in these comments. Yeah, that's his fault. You know, he stole black. Everything. They're just everything about them is it's all about being black. He was never funny, and I hated how he stole black comedians' whole. These are the people that hate Trump. And honestly, I'm just so proud that Americans are learning to just ignore them. We should have been ignoring them. Why were we trying to pander to them? Why we care what they said? You know, this is not diversity of thought. They all share the same thought. I thought we wanted diversity of thought. Like there is no diversity of thought. It's just one way, which is hate Trump, hate white people, hate the country, hate the flag, hate the Pledge of Allegiance. And if you won't go along with that, then you ain't black. That's why people say, "Oh yeah, you know, you don't like black?" I'm like, well, what's to like? They hate everything. Everything that I like, everything that's great, everything that's nice. And it's unpopular to say so because the truth is unpopular. Reality is unpopular. But I mean, it's, you know, it is what it is. You know, that culture of, it's a sickness, it's a cancer to the republic. It's not healthy for the country. I mean, look at the countries that they claim to love the most. Are those countries healthy? No. No, they're not. Do me a favor, like and subscribe to the page. I'm going to put this on YouTube. I have a couple other segments I'm going to do tonight, but I just wanted to go over this whole George Lopez complaining about mass deportation. You know, now, like I said, they're going to come up with new laws for illegals where they're going to be treated differently and they're going to be in a separate justice system. And hopefully that's going to deter them from wanting to break in here. And hopefully that will inspire George Lopez and Selena Gomez to want to go to another country and make it great. Be better than us. Don't settle for America, Miss Gomez, Mr. Lopez. You guys can do better. You deserve better. I know you do. So do me a favor, like and subscribe. Club Rico podcast, Safe and Effective podcast. I'll be back on shortly. I got to set up another live. I'm new to a lot of this, so I'm just figuring all this stuff out. But yeah, we have a couple other topics coming up, and we'll talk about shortly. Thank you.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.